Welcome to Inside EdgeOS, where we go behind the scene with the people who install an operating system into businesses so owners can stop being the answer to everything. Today is the first episode of our podcast, and I want to introduce you to Eugenia. Welcome. Hello, how are you today?
I'm good. How are you? Thank you very much for this space.
Me also, I'm very excited about our podcast, and I want to ask you, for business owners who watching us right now, how would you introduce yourself? Where are you based? What is your job? And what is one thing you take off your client plate every single week?
Well, hello. I'm Eugenia. I'm from Córdoba, Argentina. So I'm based in Argentina at the minute. A little bit about me. I'm working as an EdgeOS Ops Manager. I am a traveler. I've been to more than 30 countries already, and I love it. I love culture. I love meeting new people, learning about different cultures and places around the world and everything. I'm also really passionate about languages because I think that really helps us connect with people from different countries and everything and fully understand them, which I think is pretty cool. I'm currently working with a client, and I would say something that I take off my client's plate usually is I try to lower the load and the mental load that they need to deal with on a daily basis. So by organizing things and trying to keep track of our standards and what's working and what isn't, I feel like I really take off their plate a lot of the mental load they need to deal with on a daily basis and trying to figure out different things. They don't need to be putting out fires constantly because we're already organizing different things to help the business run.
Wow, it's really impressive, and I'm surprised you're such a big traveler because for me it's also my one of favorite hobbies. But we are talking now a lot about like business and stuff, and I want to ask you like, tell me who you are if like you're talking with your friend, not like the resume version.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so I think my friends would describe me as a very positive person. I always try to look on the bright side of things. I'm really, really curious. I think that's also why I really like traveling because I love discovering new things about the world and people and the ways in which people think. And I'm also really, really eager. And I also really work with challenges. I like things to be moving, I like things to be active and ever changing and new challenges all the time that kind of stimulate my mind in a way and keep me entertained in a way, which I think is really, really cool. So yeah, I'm a very positive person. I'm always trying to look on the bright side of things, and I always think things are going to work out and everything's going to go well. But yeah, I think that's a little bit about me. I'm not very much of a sports person, but I love my books and I love my culture, and yeah.
Nice. I believe that work with age is really challenging because every day you have a lot of challenge which you should figure out and deal with. So before age, like what did you do before? Like how your days usually look like? What were you doing?
Okay, so this past couple years have been a little bit interesting for me. I've been living in Australia. I just moved back to Argentina a few months ago. I was living in Australia trying to soak up as much of the culture as possible. I was working also in operations, but trying to coordinate different events, and I was working with venues as well, trying to organize everything. So that was a little bit about what I've been doing. I also traveled a bit, which was really cool. I got to see Southeast Asia, which was amazing and completely different from Latin America, but also similar in a way, which is a weird thing, but I feel like if you've been to both places, you'll know what I mean. And yeah, it's been a really, really good few years.
Wow, you could have done a lot of different things, and I mean, your life was pretty interesting, and now I'm sure it is. But what was the reason why you decided to pick age? Like, what it was, for example?
Okay, so I feel like the main reasons why I decided to work with Edge and why I was really, really interested in it, it was first the multicultural aspect of it. I love that there's people from a lot of different countries working together and collaborating and trying to make the most of it. I really, really like the culture aspect of Edge, where we really prioritize and focus on work, but we also build strong relationships between everyone, and the well-being of everyone is really important, because I feel like you can't really perform well at work if you're not doing well within yourself and within your body and your mind and your life in general. So I think it's really, really good to mix up both things, and really helps people move forward and be challenged and learn new things. And I also thought it was a really, really good approach to business, in the way of we're trying to work with different clients and help them in a way that really, really helps their businesses move forward and make real tangible change, which I think is the most important thing.
Okay, so do you do cold plunges? Like a lot of guys.
I don't do cold plunges. I do love meditation. I love meditation. I do yoga on a weekly basis, and I love that. It really, really helps me be grounded. But I'm too Latina to be doing cold plunges. I don't think I can handle that.
But have you ever tried at least like once?
No, I've not. I've gone into really cold lakes and I had a horrible time, so I don't think I can handle a cold plunge. I can handle a cold shower.
Yeah, I understand you also. I understand you because for me, I'm a person who like to live in hot countries and where it's cold. I was born in
Yeah.
cold country. For me, it was
Mhm.
easy enough. So
Yeah.
we'll stop on it. Okay, let's talk about your last Saturday.
Mhm.
Like, I'm really curious to know where you were, like with who you were, with who you spent your time with, like what you were doing, like what is your weekends look like usually?
Mhm. Okay, so now that I'm back home, I have a lot more quiet weekends than I used to have when I was in Australia. When I was traveling, I always try to make up the most out of every day and soak up as much as possible to actually see clear results. And being back home, I'm actually really enjoying the family life and being quiet and enjoying my people around me, which is really, really nice to have your community close by. So I'm trying to soak up as much as I can. This Saturday, actually, I had lunch with my family. I don't know if you know, but in Latin America, we really, really get together with our families on weekends a lot, like cousins, uncles, aunts, our grandma, everyone. So we had a really nice Argentinian lunch on Saturday, which was cool. I got to see my little cousins and everything. It's really, really nice. And then on the afternoon, I got together with some friends from university, actually. We're all economists, which is, we're all very, very focused people, but it's really nice to get together with them and catch up on everyone's life and everything. But I
Yeah.
don't think I could do a cold plunge. So yeah, not that interesting, not a lot going on, but really, really nice to soak up the people around me.
No, really sounds very interesting. I'm curious, like how big is your family? Like how many people
My
usually?
family is about, it's not that big, I would say, for Latin America, but
Mhm.
on a regular Sunday lunch, it would probably be about 20 people, something like that, which is
20
a
people.
good number. It's a good number of people between grandma, the uncles, and aunts, and everyone.
I mean, it's like a
But
small startup company, you know. For me, it's kind
exactly.
of
Yeah.
a small
Yeah, we
startup
probably
company
could. We probably could.
because I mean, in my culture, we also have families, but it's not so big. 20 people is like a crazy. You have a
Yeah.
lot of relatives.
Yeah, that's a lot of people, but it's fun and it's really nice and keeps things entertaining, I think.
Monday morning, let's imagine that you log in and walk me through literally what you open and what you do first.
Okay, so I always try my schedule my weeks beforehand. So Monday morning when I open up, I have my mate, which is an Argentinian drink. It's really, really good. You should look into it. And I start going through my calendar. I've got everything like block scheduled, so it's really, really easy to see what's coming up, what's happening. And I start going through that. I check on my little tasks note that I've got. I've got a little spreadsheet where I built all my tasks and things that I need to do. So I check on that as well. And I see any relevant emails or messages or anything that need to be solved right away. And then I started my weekly tasks. I'm always trying to prioritize 1 or 2 things a week to try and really, really give focus to those things, and then work on other things as well on the side that might be coming up.
Wow, it actually sounds very like structured. I understand your operations manager, you need to be structured, but maybe you can a bit share with people who gonna watch us, like which platforms you use, which tools you use. Like, can you be a bit more details about this? I'm sure it's
Mhm.
very useful information for people who doesn't know still how to work and structure their life.
Okay, so on the basic aspects of it, I literally do my calendar on Google Calendar. So I've got everything on blocks there, and you can see it. You open it, you can see everything that's happening. I've got little descriptions as well on the events that tell me what it's about, if there's a meeting, what the meeting's about, what I'm supposed to be discussing, and everything. So it really helps put a lot of things onto paper and not necessarily keep everything in your head, because I feel like when you have everything in your head, then it's really easy to start forgetting things. So that's that. Then I'm using Claude at the minute, which is really, really helpful. That's helping me automate a few tasks and everything. And it's really helping me be organized on a few things. And yeah, and then I've got my little spreadsheet as well, which is also quite simple. I feel like it's quite a numbers person type of organization, but I think it works for me and it really keeps me organized.
Okay, I'm really curious about the cloud because now I believe for businesses the best AI system what you have it's really Claude. Like which option of Claude do you use? Like you use Claude Cowork or Claude Code or like Claude in the browser? Like which one and
Mhm.
like in which way specifically?
Yeah, so I'm mostly using Claude Cowork. It's really, really helped me to build different artifacts and everything that's helping me automate a lot of tasks that are repetitive. And I don't necessarily need to be spending my time on them as well as my clients' time. So, for example, I won't get that many emails on a daily basis, so I can go through them and reply to them manually. But for my client, for example, I've built an artifact that helps them draft email responses through to Claude Cowork. And then they just live on his email, and all he needs to do is go on the drafts, check what it's written, and if it's all good, just send it out. And it really, really saves a lot of his time because he probably gets about 40 to 50 emails a day. So it's not really easy to handle that amount of emails. So having Claude Cowork go through them, check them out, and draft responses has really, really helped free a lot of his time.
So, if we are talking about AI, because now it's such a big topic, and all businesses, like when they hear AI, all business owners, I mean, let me try, whatever. Do you believe that AI can really change like real human on the work? Like, or you think that it should be like mix of AI and human brain?
I feel like I'm a person that really likes AI, but I'm also really, really keen on the idea that people should always be developing their intellect and their minds. So I feel like AI can be a really, really great tool when it comes to automating tasks, like I said before, and when it comes to doing a lot of tasks that maybe would take someone that's programming or something like that a really long time, and then AI can do it in a really, really quick amount of time, really simply just build it out and have it ready for you. In that way, I think it's really, really helpful. But I think also human input is really, really relevant because the criteria and the analyzing, I don't think is the same necessarily. Also, highlighting the different points that are more relevant to the business. Maybe it can select KPIs and know which KPIs to look at and if they're doing good or not. But I also feel like the human input on the different prioritize and like more cultural human aspect is really, really necessary as well. So I think it's good to work together, but it's not necessarily a replacement. No, it can. I'm sorry. I feel like it can really, really help automate repetitive tasks that can free up more human time for people to actually do more critic thinking and creative activities that really help the business move forward.
I agree with you 100%. We are still not on the stage where AI can do everything because still a lot of human resources needed to manage it and correct it to the right way. Okay, let's talk about the project with who you work right now. Like you are already 2 weeks of install, how I understand. And what exists inside of the business right now, what did not exist before you came into this company?
Okay, so from what we've been building right now, we've been building all different workflows in the system, which basically a workflow, for anyone that doesn't know, it's literally a clear step-by-step process on what's happening within the business, what are the necessary steps to get from point A to point B, and to make things run smoothly and everything to get it happening from the beginning of the business when you get a lead onto the end of closing a job or escalation or whatever needs to happen. So we've built that, and it's been really, really helpful actually to see a lot clearer what's happening, what steps are needed, who's handling what, and to have a clear idea on what the reality of the business is versus what should be happening or what we would want for it to be happen, which isn't necessarily what actually happens in reality. And then by having that clear structure, now we can start assigning different things and moving things around to get it closer to the objective reality.
Can you also walk me off one of the moment which happened like last week with you, with your job, and like was something happening and what you did? Maybe you had like some issues or company had some issues which you figure out and help them. Can you tell me that story?
Yeah. So, for example, with the client I'm working with, we had a few issues because a lot of the roles weren't really clearly defined, and what everyone owned wasn't necessarily really clear. So, a lot of people were overstepping each other, or two people were doing the same thing, and it was doubling the work and really making the processes be a lot slower than they should have been. So what we did is I got together with two of the teammates of the company and we went through the workflow. And actually, within a really quick call, just by having the clear steps in front of us, we could discover that two people were doing the same task and that another task wasn't really getting done by anyone until it was like an emergency because no one felt like it was their responsibility. So we managed to reorganize everything and explain a few things between different teammates. And that actually really helped us run a lot more smoother within the process and within what's happening.
Okay, let's move forward. So, and who you all, usually report to this situation? Like, how often you speak with the owner of business? Like, how it's look like your connection? You every day texting each other. You have like Zoom calls where you discuss all of the questions.
That really varies. The owner is obviously a very, very busy person. So what I try to do is I try to solve as much as I can on my own on the things that I don't necessarily need to consult with him. And then when we do talk, I have a list of little things that I need to consult with him. So I gather up a few things and then we talk and we try to solve those because I'm really cautious of their time because they're very, very busy. They have a lot of things handling at the same time. So I try to work on as much as I can and to keep communication to as clear and effective as possible to avoid over communication and a lot of back and forth that isn't necessary and also can be a bit of a waste of time if you're just constantly going back and forth. Whereas I feel like one call or one meeting can be a bit better in just like solving everything with a clear outline on what's happening and then just going off that.
Okay, let's imagine that a business owner watching this video and he has like 5 or 6 people and he has never have everyone like in your role and he wants to understand like how is week one gonna look like. Could you please explain like what is happening on the first week of the install and work with you?
Yeah. So the first week of the install, I would say, is the get to know the business and get to know what's happening in reality. So that's more of a building the basics and the ground from which we're going to start building. So week one, it's really, really helpful to have a proper meeting with the owner at that stage. And then what I also did is I had individual meetings with the different team members, which just to introduce myself and also to understand how they see the business from their endpoint of what they're doing and from their tasks. And then by gathering all of the different versions of what is happening within the business, you can clearly start seeing the differences of what is supposed to happen versus what is actually happening, and also the different understanding people have of what's happening from their position in the company. So this really, really helps build a clear base from which you can start building and start working to see, okay, there's differences in this. This is the most separate from what we want it to be. How can we get closer to that? And what are the necessary steps to get there?
I see. I believe it's really very useful stuff for businesses right now, because I also had experience when you start your own startup, and especially if you don't have any education before and you really feel like a brain with 1,000 hands, and sometimes just no time for life, like even to have a food, to have your own lunch. So tell me one thing that happening in the last week with you and that you actually proud of, like what it was. Tell me about that moment.
Okay. I feel like something that happened within the last week actually that was really, really helpful was we started building playbooks, which for anyone that doesn't know what they are, it's basically a concise, clear outline of how a task is done, what needs to be done on step by step, the triggers of the task, when it's complete, and if there's any issues, how to handle them. And we were having a lot of issues because there wasn't really a standard on how things were supposed to be done. And then some team members couldn't really help out with certain tasks because all the knowledge lived on someone's head and not on paper. So by building those playbooks, we actually enabled other team members to start doing different tasks because they had a clear outline, simple, clear, step by step on how to do something and what the outcome should be. And that really, really helped free up a lot of people's time and also get us on the move to, if anything needs to change or if anything in the company changes and the person that has the knowledge in their mind can't do the job for whatever reason, maybe they're on holiday or whatever it may be, then it's not on their mind anymore. It's clearly outlined somewhere, and then someone else can easily hop on and do that task as well.
But it's a really big problem for a company. How do you think why nobody like fixed this before? I'm sure that people knows that there are some issue, but they didn't understand how to do it, how to make it in the right way, or how do you think?
Yeah, so I feel like within a business, sometimes it's really easy for time to just start going and things to evolve and not necessarily be registered anywhere. And I also think there is, if you're running a business, there's a lot of things going on at the same time, and there's a lot of fires that need putting out constantly. So there's constantly issues or things that people need your input in, or things that need to be resolved. So people don't necessarily have the time to do this if it isn't already built into a structure. So if there is no structure, it's really hard to just start taking time aside of your day into building the structure. That's why I feel like the ops manager role is really, really helpful, and it's really necessary as well, because it's a person specially dedicated to building the system, outlining everything, building the standards. And then ideally, once that job is a bit more built and a bit more complete and you've got a bit more structure to everything, then there's going to be way less fires to put out on a daily basis. So everyone will have a lot more time to actually be doing what they need to be doing and not necessarily putting out fires and solving emergencies all the time.
Yeah, it's always good when someone can come and look into your business from the side, because especially if you're a business owner, it's very difficult sometimes to understand clearly all situation, because you have a lot of different problems, how you say. And what did you open first when you understood that company with who you work with have this issue? Like, what did you say? What was your action step by step?
Well, for me, I feel like it was really, really important to start clarifying who owns what step of the process, because that really helps target clearly who is responsible for different things. And if there is an issue at a certain stage in the business, then we know exactly who to go with, who to help, or how to solve this in a more clear way that doesn't need for everyone to step in and can free up everyone else's time that doesn't necessarily need to be involved in that. So I think that was really, really important. And also to start avoiding doubling the work for different people.
And what is different today because of what you did? Like, what exactly was this changes so people, like employees who work in the company, they can finally say, oh, done, I can breathe, I can do whatever I need, I don't have this problem anymore.
Mm-hmm. I feel like a few people have had a lot of time really be freed up because due to a lack of organization and a lack of clear communication, I feel like some team members were guiding other team members on what they had to do and how it was supposed to be done, and like constantly sending out reminders and little notifications. And the other team member that was receiving the reminder wasn't really aware that they could do this on their own. So I feel like it freed everyone's time because now the person sending the reminder doesn't need to anymore, so they can focus on other tasks. And the person that was receiving the reminder doesn't need to wait for it. They can just go ahead and do the task because they know exactly how and what to do.
If someone watching If someone watching could steal one sense from how you handle that, what it would be? I understand, of course, we are here not to give a lot of free tips, but still, I believe your story is very useful for people and they can already, for example, take something from your speech, from our podcast, and try to put inside of their business. What it would be? How do you think?
Mhm. I feel like if you're struggling with a certain task or with a certain number of tasks that you're finding really repetitive or really tedious, and you depend on other people as well for their input, I feel like one quick solution would be to literally just have a meeting with those other people and try and really clearly establish what everyone thinks is supposed to happen, because there I feel like you will quickly see the difference between what different people think should happen versus what is happening. And that can really, within a quick meeting, you can really, really clear out a lot of misunderstandings and have people get a more simple, basic idea of what actually needs to happen and get ownership of what they're responsible for in the process. And that can free up so much time.
Someone watched this video and they decide that they want to bring an operations manager inside of their business. What they need to know before the week one of the installment?
I think they should know, in terms of the role, they should know that this person's going to try and do their best to organize and sort out as much as possible in the company. But they should also know that they're going to need the input from the owner, and they're going to need you to provide the information and the knowledge that you've got within your head in order to build this system. So it's a collaborative work, I feel like, where I will do my best, for example, in my company, to build everything out, but I will be needing the owner's input in a lot of things, because coming from outside, you can see a lot of things a lot more clearer, but you also need the owner's input into the understanding of exactly what's happening, how it's happening, and how it should be happening. So it's really a collaborative work between both people into getting this a lot more structured and built out.
Let's talk about this a bit more. Like, for example, what does the owner actually need to do? Because we already understand your part of the job as an operations manager, but what is responsibilities of the owner in that collaborative work?
So I think in the beginning, it's really, really important for the owner to give clear context on the company, on what the goals are, on what is expected from everyone, and what the basic idea of the company is. So what's the standard? What are we aiming for? What would you like the company to look like within a year, within 3 years? In order to have a more clear outline on how to build it and what to prioritize most. Because I feel like with the owner's knowledge, you can have a lot more of a clear path into what the goals are, what the priorities are, what the most important parts of the process are to the owner, and then we can build it together to get it to what is expected, I guess.
And what is the one common mistake which owners do when they bring someone like you to their businesses? Like, what it's, for example, like, what's the mistakes?
It's really important to let the operations manager know as much as you can about the company to allow them to properly do their job and build systems that will work within the idea and the objectives that you have for your business. So it's really, really important to keep a really open communication path between both parts, to be updating each other and to have a really open communication path in which we can know exactly what the owner prioritizes and what their goals are and what their idea of the business is in order to get it looking like that.
This sounds very interesting and nice, but let's see into the reality. And if you're talking about the owner, business owner who's struggling with a lot of different tasks right now, how does the owner know that it's actually working for his company? Like, how do you think he will understand that, yeah, I see the result, what it should be?
I feel like the easiest way in which the owner can notice this is in the way of which they literally need to put out a lot less fires on a daily basis. When the business and the system starts getting built and it starts working within the company, it's really, really simple to see it because the owner can start focusing a lot more on the tasks that they need to be doing and that they need to be prioritizing instead of going back and forth all day solving tons and tons of different issues that just come up, because a lot less issues will be coming up.
Thank you so much for such nice answers and for to sum up a bit what is an operations manager role, and for people who watching us today, like to better understanding what is that and why they should bring it inside of the business, of course, if they have that issues. And now I want to ask you, let's go to the final part of our podcast. Is my favorite part, very easy. From you, I just need a one short answer, like one sentences, I mean like 2-3 words, no more, very fast, the first thing which comes to your mind, because now we're gonna have a quick fire answers. I mean quick fire questions and answers from you. So tell me when you're ready and let's start.
Okay, let's go.
Okay, so what is the best part of your job that nobody talks about?
Constant evolution and challenges.
Okay, worst parts of the job that nobody talks about.
Non-cooperating people.
Okay, go next. What do you know now that you wish you knew on what day one?
Clear communication is the most important thing.
Now I need you to fill the blank, so I will start the sentences and you finish it with 1 or 2 words. No more. The biggest reason businesses stay stuck is.
Lack of organization.
And last question, one thing you would tell an owner who is on the fence about bringing someone like you inside of the business.
If you're thinking about it, you most likely need it.
Okay, thank you so much. Thank you for this
Thank
podcast
you.
and our conversation. I was really enjoying the talk which we have today. And maybe
Thank
if
you
you
very
want to
much.
say like some last sentence or something to our people who watch us today, like you're welcome.
Thank you very much for this space and for the really nice chat. And I think one last thing I would like to say to anyone thinking about this is it's an investment that starts today, but it will bring out awesome results in the future. Really, really clear. So yeah, thank you very much. Thank you for your space. It was really nice talking with you.
Thank you for your time. So, guys, if you want an EdgeOS Operations Manager like Eugenia installing the operating system inside your business, go to hvirtualassistants.com and book a call with us. Thank you.